I just sent my guardian angel to be with him for that day. And he calls me and he said, strangest thing, did by any chance you send your guardian angel to me today? And I said, yes. Why? And he said, the darndest thing.
It's the darndest thing. Oh, you're going to love this. Welcome. This is Touched by Heaven. Everyday encounters with God. Those moments when heaven and earth collide and we see God. We have Ann here talking about, did you know you could send your angel to another person? Do you know that? We're going to find out what happens when Ann did just that. And Ann's cool to tell the story, right?
You know, before we got on this call, I'm like, this is not normal. I am not comfortable. I don't know if I'm going to tell anybody about this.
It's just between us two. Don't worry about it. Maybe to help understand this, we need a Bible story about a blind man, as it turns out. So I get up this morning and I'm sitting there and I'm doing my prayer thing, and I decide to listen to the second half of a long sermon I had heard local preacher thing.
To the man blind by the pool of Siloam, he spits on the ground, makes mud, smears the mud into his eyes. He's not a good ophthalmologist. And he recovers his sight.
And then Jesus raised a glass of bourbon and said, here's mud in your eye. True story. It's in, which gospel is that? It's the newly revised version. So I'll find it for you. Okay. Why did Jesus make the mud? Why did he spit into dirt and rub it into this guy? As he said, it's bad ophthalmology. Why did he spit into dirt, make mud, and then stick it in his eye? Because we need the mud. You and I need the mud. We're physical beings. We understand mud. If someone walks up to you and goes, pray, 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 and suddenly the blind guy can see, that can be so overwhelming of, wait, who are you? What is it? How? Whereas if the same person spits, makes mud, sticks it in your eye, and then you see, you can kind of go, oh, you did something to the mud. It's in my realm now. You what did you do to the mud? You put something in the mud? What's in the mud? You got a recipe for mud? You know, my head can wrap around the physical. We have a hard time staying in the spiritual, and that's where God lives, of course. Throughout these Touched by Heaven episodes, what do we have? I heard my angel. I heard a voice. I felt a touch. I smelled the roses. I saw fill in the blank. The invisible being made visible. Why? So we can understand there is a God. So we can understand, he's real and he wants a relationship with me. Back in the day, there was a burning bush. Why? Kind of gets your attention, doesn't it, Moses? Ann's about to send her angel, spiritual being, to her husband, physical being. How will God acknowledge the action? Make the invisible visible. And God does.
100%. And my husband's faith is not as obvious as mine. He believes in God, but he doesn't demonstrate it, or who knows, maybe even practice it as much. I'm very faithful. Like everybody, all my kids know. I have conversations with God all day long. So definitely got stronger in faith in my 30s and now in my 40s.
You have Ann, you have her husband. And her husband knew. Back when they were like 15, he knew she was the one.
He tried to date me, but I declined several times. I didn't really know who he was or why he kept bothering me. But we just kind of bumped into each other over and over. And even after high school. And once we finally really met each other and I had interest in him, we got engaged after 3 months and married 3 months later.
Whoa.
Yeah.
What took you so long? I mean, this guy's he's like repellent. And then suddenly, now we're married.
Yeah, he was very persistent. He said when he was 15, he got down on his hands and knees and prayed for me. And then got the courage to call me, and I said, no, thanks. So 10 years later, I guess it was time. I don't know.
10 years?
Yeah. I had really no interest in him. I don't even know how it's possible, but like zero.
Well, what happened 10 years later that you went, you?
We both love music, and he's a musician, and we kept running into local shows. I think the stars just aligned. I knew I wanted to be married. I knew I wanted a family. I had been with people and, fallen in love with people before, but they weren't on the same page. And so to find someone that you are clearly on the same page about, you have so much in common. And there's just this drive. It was just right. I can't even explain it. It was just right. More than anything I could ever have hoped for. Like he just was everything. He was it. And we knew what we wanted to do in life and do it together. So
Yeah.
it was just.
And your Touched by Heaven story includes him.
It does.
Okay.
Yeah, it does. Then after, I'm trying to remember if it was shortly after we were dating or married, because it happened also quickly. But I was telling him about how you can send your guardian angel to people. And he had not heard of this before. And he thought, well, that's pretty interesting and cool, And then we just kind of had that conversation. That was that. And then shortly after that, it must have been within the same week, I sent my angel to him for the day. He's a carpenter, and sometimes I worry about the types of projects he's on because it can be dangerous in some ways. So I just sent my guardian angel to be with him for that day. And he calls me from work, which we don't usually talk during work. He's usually pretty busy, and they don't have phones and computers by them. They're with tools. And so he called me and he said, strangest thing. And I said, what happened? He goes, did by any chance you send your guardian angel to me today? And I said, yes. Why? And he said the darndest thing, because I am working in this house. It's an abandoned house, basically. It's a house that's a ginormous mansion, really. And it's in a development where they're trying to build, all new houses, but nobody wants to take down this old, kind of more historic looking mansion house. There's nothing in it. And he's actually making repairs on it, just kind of helping it stay in good shape as they build. The future plan was to build the development out and around it. And it's empty. And he was working, and he had walked through this particular room many times, over and over, for weeks. And there's been nothing found in the house. Not a single personal belonging in the house has ever been found. And he said, right in the middle of a room, on carpet with, no furniture, nothing else, is a Christmas ornament that is a gold angel. And he's like, I have no idea where this came from, but I know I've been through this room 1,000 times and it wasn't there before. And nobody comes in this house. No one comes in or out of this house besides him and a buddy that works with him. I was just, I said, well, bring it home. Can you bring it home? And he said, yeah, absolutely. I can bring this home. And so he brought it home. And we put it on our tree every Christmas. It's the last ornament to go up every year. And we just tell the kids the story, Yeah.
You don't happen to remember the time of year that this happened, do you?
It was definitely before Christmas. And we remembered there was snow on the ground, but we were pretty excited that it was an ornament we could put on our tree. We didn't have a lot of ornaments. Like when you get married, you're typically starting to build, what you have to put on the tree. And I remember we were excited about that.
That is just so special.
It is. I don't know how, we don't know how to, we were just talking about this a week ago as we put up our tree. I'm like, tell me again, from your words. And he's like, I don't understand if it came out of the wall or where it came from.
Amazon, like everything else. It was 2 days shipping. Yeah, it was 2 days
Well, it doesn't matter where it came from. It wasn't there before. And
wow.
My husband, to have him be sharing that story, like, no, this is what happened, guys. This is crazy. To even have that come from him, that it's really his experience, and he's completely, believing like, yeah, I mean, Mom sent me her angel, and I literally got an angel. Like it got there on the same day that I sent my guardian angel, and these are not coincidences. Like this is just, you can't make this stuff up.
Can't make it up. Nope, you're right. You can't make it up.
Sometimes the kids put it on and they're short. Like my 5-year-old, she's short. This year I put it on and it's right in the middle. Yeah. It's, where everybody can see it. Every year we get to tell that story, and faith comes and goes. You have things in your life that come and go. And I love that every year, no matter where we're at, with struggles or COVID, whatever it is, we get to have this story to remind us. And we have this tangible object that we get to use and be like, wow, other moments in your life you can lose because there's not a tangible. And I feel like it's such a gift that it was a Christmas ornament, and we get to focus, kind of remember that in this moment where we put the ornaments on our tree as a family together. That's super special to me, just because every year we're all in a different place. A year goes by, we're older, the kids are getting older, and this is something that they can now pass on to their kids, because there's literally there's an angel in the room.
The invisible being made visible. Yes. And it's got to help fortify the faith of kids. And as they get older and question and all those things, like we all do, there's something about at Christmas time, mom and dad have this ornament that came out of nowhere, and it's an angel. And, that just makes Christmas, doesn't it? I mean, to have your own It's a Wonderful Life story, that's just a very cool annual Christmas story. How perfect is that?
Yeah.
What a gift.
I'm very grateful for it. Yeah. Well, and so, how I found the podcast too is, I think, another just good story. So the day that I found your podcast, I woke up and it was early, before the family. And what I do, of course, turn to social media, looking through Facebook. And one of my friends had posted just a reshare of something of Tim Tebow, or Tebow. I don't know. He's some football player.
Yeah, Tim Tebow.
And believes in God. He's very outspoken about it. And the post was essentially that he believes that the end of the world is coming soon, and that we really need to prepare our hearts. And it really stuck with me. I looked into what she shared, and then who's this guy? He's really inspiring. And I just started thinking about what happened. If the world ends now, which it feels like it's coming when you think of just all that's going on in the world. I just thought about, how am I preparing myself, right? Would I make it to heaven? And I opened up a kitchen drawer. It's just a junk drawer. And I'm like, I'm going to clean this out. And in this kitchen drawer, I found a little pamphlet that was about the 10 Commandments and how to get to heaven. I honestly don't remember where it came from. It was probably left on our doorstep, and I always save everything. I started reading it, and it was literally here's the 10 Commandments and here's how to get to heaven. And I thought, that's really strange. I was just having this moment of how do you prepare yourself? And it really spoke to me, because I felt like it was here's the things you need to do, right? 10 Commandments. Then my daughter woke up, so I head upstairs. I'm going to get her out of bed and get her up and get her breakfast. And I just look out the window and I see my neighbor's van running. It's Sunday morning. It's warming up. They're all going to church. There's 7 kids in that family. And in my head, I go, they're going to church. I'm like, there's 7 kids. I have 3. And it's like pulling teeth, and just, noting to myself, it must be, like my family. I came from a family of 6 kids. It was just the expectation. How do I get my family to be like that? And I go into her room, and waking her up, chit-chatting as usual. And she asks me, are we going to church today? And I'm like, what? She's 4. She has no clue what day it is. And she usually wakes up and she asks, am I going to school, or am I going to grandma's house? Those are that's her world. Today she asks, are we going to church? And that really just kind of stood out with me. And I was like, okay, is this God? God, okay, I will go to church today, right? I'm definitely going to do this today. I'm going to make it there. I'll go to the nighttime mass, right? That's when I had more time before the rest of the family wake up, and I turned to podcasts, and I'm searching Touched by Heaven. The title really spoke to me. So I listened to one episode and I was completely hooked. I loved hearing the stories I must have listened to 4 days straight, just trying to and I think it was just the idea of miracles that really stood out to me. That was when I heard the first episode. There's a saint, is it Saint Anthony, that helps you find things?
Right.
Yeah. Here it is. It's Touched by Heaven, episode 190. She shared about praying for things that you lost. And I was like, okay, you know what? I'm really inspired today. I'm going to pray for something that's lost. And I decided that it would be for my daughter, who has a little white stuffed animal. It's a kitty. and we had lost it, maybe 6 months ago or so. It was her favorite. I had bought it for her. Like, we had already looked everywhere in the house for it. I had looked up north at a cabin we've looked in boats, cars, everywhere over 6 months. And I don't know where it is. And I thought, that's it. I want to find that. And I was a little nervous because she could have left it anywhere,
Right.
and maybe, and I'm like, am I challenging? Like, what is this? I don't even know what I'm doing, but I know this lady prayed for some keys, and I had already decided it's going to be this kitty. So I, please help me find it. Right. Did my prayer, and immediately as I'm praying for, like, okay, this is my item. This is what I want to find. I had this idea, like this, I don't know how to explain it, except for it's like, just pops into my head that the kitty is by her bunk bed. And I was like, well, that's just silly, because I've literally torn that bed apart, right? And made the bed how many times, and washed the bedding how many times in 6 months. And I'm like, okay, well, I don't know what this voice or this thing in my head is, but I need to go look. So I go to the top bunk where I thought I was visualizing it. And I look down the wall crack, and I'm looking under the mattress where you think it'd have a bump. And I just sat there and I'm like, okay, it's not here. But I have a real sense, and it was almost like overwhelming, like, but it is here. And you have, like, and I'm trusting it, that this is guiding me. And so I'm like, okay, well, here it is. And I'm feeling strong. I've never felt this strong in any communication with God. And it was just like, I fully trust you. It's here. But yet I'm not seeing it. And so then in my head, I'm like, okay, well, look under the bed. And I'm like, well, that's just, in my head, I'm like going down under the bed. I'm like, I have literally vacuumed under this bed. I have to kind of like push up the blankets in order to see under the bed. I pull up the bottom, and there's the kitty on the floor underneath her bed, which is like,
on the floor.
On the floor. It was there. And I just started crying. I'm like, this is, what it was for me was confirmation that I hear these things and it is God. And I have to trust it, because you can be busy. You can think, oh, that's just me telling myself the answer, or not trusting that it's truly coming from God. But this was like evidence, right? Like, I was guided, like the lost keys I got. Like
Yeah.
I'm like, it's like it's not even me going into to look for this. It's just like, I am just guided by this.
Yeah. The fact that you got hit with the image of the bed. That's what you got, the image.
Yep.
And that's the way it can work sometimes. Sometimes it's an image, sometimes it's a word. Sometimes it can come in so many different ways. You can get a clue in a song, a television commercial. Yeah, it's just amazing. God uses the canvas of the whole universe. And then for you to not let go, like, this is dumb. I've already looked here, I've vacuumed here.
Yeah, I was walking to her room being like, this is crazy. I've already looked here. And then I'm on the top of the bunk and I'm like, it's not here, but it is here. I can feel it. It is, a voice is like, but it is,
Okay, so when you explain this one to your hubby,
yeah,
what happened?
Yeah, I told the whole family this, right? And I told them as soon as they woke up, and I captured it. Like, I was like, I want to make sure I don't lose any moment of this morning. But here I am still also going to church, remember, right? And God's not done yet. So he's having dialogue with me all day, like from the time I basically woke up and I was like, how do I get to heaven? And then there's this pamphlet. And then I go and get my daughter. And she says, are we going to church today? And then I go get this kitty thing because I found this podcast. So I'm going to church, right? That's still on part of my whole day. And it's 5:30 Mass. I feel great, right? I'm excited. I'm committed.
Who's all with you?
Just me and my daughter. The rest of my family did not want to go. So my youngest, my little kitty owning daughter.
So the 4-year-old is the one that was her kitty.
That was her little kitty, her stuffed animal, and she's going to church with me.
How perfect. How perfect. Is she taking the kitty with her?
I think she might have.
Darn right I would.
I think she did. So we're at church. My daughter looks at me and says, Mom, your earring's missing. And I was like, what? Oh, sure enough it is. And okay, well, it must have fell out, right? And that stinks. I lost an earring. 10 minutes later, it's like, I need to go to the bathroom. So we have to leave church. And we head out to go to the bathrooms. I kicked something, but my daughter stops and she goes, Mom, that's your earring. Like, it was so light that I don't even know how she heard it or saw it on the ground, but I didn't. She noticed it and she said, Mom, there's your earring on the floor. Because we were just walking, holding hands. And maybe
were you in the restroom when this happened?
No, this is on our way to the bathroom.
On the way. Wow.
Yeah. For me, I was like, that is the icing on the cake that she points out to me, you've lost an earring. And I wasn't about to go, think about it. I'm in mass. I'm not like, okay, now I'm going to pray for that and find my earring. I was literally in mass. I'm like, okay, shoot, bummer. I take out the other one. I put it in my purse and I'm like, oh, well, it'll go into the earring drawer of, misfits. There's only one.
The island of misfit earrings. Was it an expensive earring?
No,
okay.
No, it wasn't. No.
And how perfect that she found it.
Yeah.
You found her thing. She finds your thing,
Yeah. 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 And I told her that we found the kitty. I just simply asked God, where's this kitty? St. Anthony, help out. Where's it at? All hands on deck. Let's find the kitty. You
were not used to going to St. Anthony?
No, never. No, the podcast is told me about it. And I was like, oh, that's funny. Because it was hard for me because I didn't want to challenge it, I just felt this draw to, as soon as I listened to it, like, okay, what do you need to find? Like, it was like in my head, like, okay, what do you need to find? Give me a whirl here.
That's so good. What a great day. That was a great day.
Yeah, it was a great day. From the time I woke up until, that mass was at 5:30. And I just felt like God had a sense of humor. To lose my earring and then it's found, 20 minutes later, that's just God's humor now. Like, this is him just having fun with me now because he knows I'm listening.
Yeah, beautiful. That's awesome. That is great, Ann.
Yeah.
Okay, what's our takeaway? I always ask the takeaway.
I think for me, the takeaway is that the dialogue and God wants a conversation. He wants prayers. Yes, prayers are powerful, but a conversation is really, for me, how I can have God with me all day. So I am listening more. Certainly the losing of an item and hearing that confirmation of God's voice for me, trusting that. And saying as much now, how can I help you, God? What do you want from me? And I have to learn now I know how to listen and to trust how he's communicating with me and to look for it, because I certainly could have overlooked or not listened in any of, the stories I just shared, but it's happening all the time. It's him. I have to trust that voice and that place that my entire being feels when he's talking to me is real.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I love the fact that you now have daily conversations where he's just always in the room now, isn't he?
He is just always in the room.
It's simple. It's beautiful. It's what relationship with Jesus is all about. And it's just a great part of your day and one particular special day, actually a couple of days. Throw in that guardian angel Christmas ornament and you've got quite a story there.
Yeah, for sure. I remember when that happened, I did tell everybody. I remember a mass email went out. I was just like, to believe, right? And when you believe with your whole heart, like it just opens up for more and more. But the faith is so hard sometimes when you don't see things. And I was lucky enough to, I feel like, have something physical that is still with me today. Hopefully it gets passed down to my kids and just, we never lose it. If we do, I guess I know who to pray to.
Yeah. Thank you for this.
Thank you. Thank you for what you're doing. It's just, it moves people. And I hope more and more people find out about your podcast, because I think it's so positive. It's so needed in people. The more you hear, it's just undeniable, right? That God he wants to communicate with every person out there. Clearly, you're never going to run out of stories.
Thanks, Ann. Some good mud today. God made some good mud, didn't he? Turning the invisible into visible. I'll send you my angel, an angel Christmas ornament in the middle of a floor where the husband and the coworker, remember, both were walking by there for how many days, weeks, whatever. And there's more mud today, as I heard from Carolyn, she was on the Medjugorje trip. She's become a great friend. She's been pursued by Mary for the last 25 years. And she had something interesting she told me that happened this morning.
I called you about something that's so positive and so amazing about the message that I got for you this morning.
Okay.
So I didn't know whether you want to hear that first or...
Sure. Throw it at me.
Oh, you're going to love this. So anyway, I woke up this morning and immediately I hear, tell Trapper to stop focusing on what he can't see because he's been given a special gift to be able to see through his heart. And I almost cried.
Wow.
Yeah.
Say it again.
Okay. He needs to stop focusing on what he can't see because he's been given a special gift to be able to see through his heart. Whew.
Do you get a sense, woman, man, you know what I mean? Heaven, did it matter?
Oh, it was absolutely. In fact, to be honest with you, I was just praying just now about this, and I heard it was Mother Mary.
Yeah.
And I just thought, whoa.
I can't help but think about when we were in Medjugorje, and I was standing there, and our friend from Australia, Angie, was having me look up to the statue of Jesus, a bronze statue, 30 feet high, and she's praying for my vision to be restored and everything. And she says, can you see his heart, about where his heart is? And I go, yeah, I think so. So I'm looking up at Jesus' heart, and my initial prayer was, I want your heart, Jesus. I want your heart. And what I get back immediately is, I give you my mother's heart. Her heart is my heart. So I can't help but see the connection and all that, her heart, his heart, being able to see through my heart. You know, that's what kind of hits me here now too. And the fact that you also, you know, as you get this, you're like me. It's like in the morning hours as you're waking up is when a lot of this stuff happens, isn't it?
They always say that when you first wake up, if the angels have something that they want to give you, they can do it at that time because you haven't filled your consciousness with all kinds of jibber jabber, you know, and problems and all the things you need to do that day and so on. So you're at a pure time. It's not funny.
Yeah.
They just gave me the word pure.
Pure time. And that's what it feels like last week. And you may have seen the video I did on this because you're on Patreon, and I was sharing some stuff there about how I woke up one morning and it was 3:33 a.m., a very powerful number. As a matter of fact, as I was contemplating giving you a call, I looked over and it was 3:33 p.m. It was interesting. Interesting. Yeah, that's so it's a God number. It's a Jesus number, right? And Trinity and all those things that are in it. But that morning I woke up to the words, "This is a very important message for you. You are a changed man." And it was I just kind of went, is this for me or somebody else? I mean, you know what I mean? Because sometimes it is. Sometimes those things are for somebody else. But
yes,
as I was telling this to my wife, she said, I think that one's for you because there's especially since Medjugorje, there's been just a different awareness.
Change.
Yeah, just different awareness. I'm not even fully.
Well, this one was no doubt. I mean, usually they'll make it more of a suggestion, but this one was tell Trapper this. I'm like, whoa, okay.
Why don't you give the pitch for Medjugorje? Tell people why they might be interested in going. What you.
It's so much of a place of peace. and you're walking just to walk through the vineyards and stuff that you're walking through to get to the church. And it's such a sense of peace to me. I found that to be so important that you had that time just to think and ponder. If you were by yourself, and you may have been with a group, it didn't make any difference. And you could get to the church, and you could just see the love on the people's faces. And I was shocked to see so many confessional booths, that whole long row of them. And I
It's the
thought,
confessional of the world. It really is. There's, I guess, 56 confessionals, and when that's not enough, they just, park chairs wherever and listen. It is the confessional of the world. When you have that many people doing exactly what John the Baptist told them to do, and Jesus told them to do, repent, and they're
Right.
just, it's awesome. I mean, it all begins there, doesn't it? It's
Right.
encounter, it's repentance, it's mission, and you get it all there. So, all right,
Yeah.
all right. Well, thank you for this. I appreciate the message, and
Say hi to your lovely wife for
will
me too,
do.
okay?
Thank you so much, Caroline. All right,
Thanks. Bye-bye.
bye now. Meanwhile, I need your story. Touchedbyheaven.net. That's a good place to contact me there. This is also the place to come to find out more information about Medjugorje 2023. We're going at the end of May, staying once again with one of the visionaries, Maria. As I say, Medjugorje spell it. It's just like it sounds. Medjugorje, pilgrimage.life. Aaron Chrysler leading the way. Save $100 on the deal if you happen to sign up before the end of the year. When you are there and ask for information, a little box will come up. Little message box. Make sure you put the word trapper in there to qualify for the $100 off. Okay? Okay. Our Patreon shout out is our good truck driving buddy, Zoltan Jaska. Thank you so much, Zoltan, for keeping this all going through Patreon. We appreciate it. Go to patreon.com, search for Trapper Jack, or again, here at episode 238, and just click your way through. Click Stay Informed. You want our weekly email, and otherwise, let's just do this again next week. See what we find. Here at Touched by Heaven, everyday encounters with God. I'm Trapper Jack. Where can you find me? Here on the podcast. Where else?
On the floor. Look under the bed. I have to kind of like push up the blankets in order to see under the bed.